All right. Hey, how's it, everybody? 5 p.m. West Coast time, 3 p.m. Hawaiian time, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. It is time for Chatter with Statter. Wonderful. So glad to be here today. I actually have a little bit of a plan if the chatter doesn't scatter in too far of a different direction. There's a topic that I wanted to talk about today. However, before I get into the topics that I want to talk about today, let's talk about this Saturday. This Saturday is Statterbox at the Cinema on Twitch, where we are right now, 6 p.m. West Coast time, 4 p.m. Hawaiian time, and 9 p.m. on the East Coast. I will be running a movie on Christmas Day. So if you've got plans that you need to get out of, or if you've got nothing else to do, or if you're done with everything you needed to have done by that day, come join us on Twitch for The Ref. That's right. We are going to be streaming The Ref, my favorite Christmas movie. It is a Denis Leary film. Not a big fan of Denis Leary, but this particular role I think was custom made. And even though it's a little bit of a dark take on the holiday, it is actually quite a wholesome film and a little bit more family friendly than last week's Gremlins. Very strange in the 80s, what was considered a film for children. I think we were all a little surprised at the darkness that Gremlins brought to the holiday season. But that was last week's Satterbox at the Cinema. This week on Saturday, that is Christmas Day, we will be watching The Ref. Now, plenty exciting newses to share. Hey, Cindy, how you doing? Good to see you in the hallway. All right, we've got someone in the house for sure. All right, so the last couple weeks have been very let's see here, creatively inspired or something for us here at the Statterbox crew, Chatter with Statter, and we have come up with some extra fancy pants emotes, and some improvements on the older janky emotes that we already had. So, Poppy Shaney, so glad to see you here this evening. I am just about to show off some of the brand new emotes to the Chatter with Statter channel. So my favorite one that we recently got in the option box is the Fancy Pants Bees. That's right. So if you subscribe to this channel, you will get access to the Fancy Pants Bees, in addition to, of course, the flying forks that we already have. And then, of course, we have incoming turkeys. Now, these are all the Fancy Pants animated ones. Hey, Elaine, good to see you. I am showing off the new options that we have here for the emotes. And yes, Poppy Shaney, I really am a fan of the Fancy Pants Bees as well. I'm glad that someone else shares that opinion. Now, another little one. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so this is an old one, but it's kind of improved, I hope. This is SuperStoked. As you all know, SuperStoked is one of the older ones, one of the original ones, if not the original one. And hopefully this is slightly easier to read, although I'm really not sure if it is. I thought that by filling out a background, it would make it pop, but instead I don't know. We're going to have a big discussion on the old SuperStoked versus the new SuperStoked. But for now, we're going to leave the new SuperStoked up for use. And Pocola T, fantastic. I am so happy that you subscribed again for your 2 months, and I'm super stoked you're able to come on in for this evening's Chatterbox chatter, statter, statter, chatter, whatever it is we do here. I'm happy that we are here together and showing off the the new new and improved SuperStoked emote. And then for those who might have actually donated some biddies, we've got a brand new Mahalo emote available for everyone. And then if you wanted to become a tier 2 subscriber, this is the creepy little face that you can get with a tier 2 subscription. That's right. It's the Yum Boy. So I thought that he was kind of cute and funny. And Zippies, no, not the Hawaiian Zippies, the one in my neighborhood, the one that I've mentioned several times. This is their little Zippy Yum Boy mascot. And so I stole it and made an emote. And so, so yeah, if you decide that you want to join at a tier 2 level, well, that's about all I've got to offer you for the tier 2 level is the funny little Yum Boy. But tier 3, if you've got so much money that you can subscribe to a tier 3 subscription, then you, my friend, you can have the brand name Prel. That's right. It's the brand name Prel emote. Twitch said it was okay to use, so I figure let's use them, right? Yeah. So, yeah. So basically, those are pretty much. Oh wait, I lied. I've got one more, and I don't really know if this is a good one, but I still love it anyway. This is my kitty Dusty, and this is his beautiful face. And the emote is Kitty says really, because he kind of looked like he was just looking at me like really when I took that picture. So hopefully we will find reasons to use all these fancy pants emotes. But in the meantime, I need to do what I should have done a few minutes ago, which is start up the Lono tunes. So by all means, let me know if the audio levels are good, bad, or ugly, and I will adjust accordingly. And yeah, so let's see here. Oh yes, okay. So, SuperStoked. This is what we're going to talk about for a minute. SuperStoked is one of the original Chatter with Statter emotes, and I have to tell you, I did not. Oh wait, here we go. That's what it is. SuperStoked. That is what the emote is. It looks like all big and bright and bold and beautiful. Now, I did not make up this this font or this design. It is a modified design from my favorite band, one of my favorite bands in the world, called the Supersuckers. And oh, Pocola Tea, excellent! You're munching on your cousin's addictive homemade Chex Mix and listening to perfectly balanced tunes with Statter. Fantastic! That's exactly what I like to hear. Perfectly balanced. Yeah, so you might notice a familiarity between this logo and what we're going for here with this emote. And I'm gonna be completely honest with all y'all. Yeah, I stole it. Or rather, I used it as an inspiration. I don't know. You know, you can call it what you want. But Supersuckers are a Seattle band that has been a part of my life for I don't even know how many decades. I've seen them countless times. Their singer, you know what? I'm not even going to go into it. But they're a band from they're a band from Tucson, Arizona, who moved up to Seattle and sort of got into the scene right at the grunge height, however, or right at the start of grunge. But their sound wasn't exactly grunge, so it didn't quite fly. Either way, they got on the verge of being famous. They performed with Willie Nelson on The Tonight Show. I mean, they were like on the verge of being famous, but they never really quite got that super famous. And you know what? That's okay. They stayed the right level of fame as far as I'm concerned. And yes, that's exactly right, Pocola Tea. I cockroached that logo. So, oh yeah, Poppy Shaney, it's so cute to see me going all fanboy. Oh yeah, Supersuckers, I could, the stories I could tell about my time with the Supersuckers and the people that I've met through the Supersuckers. I have literally tattoos on my body that are matching that if I did not know of the Supersuckers and the people that I met through them, I would not have some of these tattoos on my body. Like literally they're matching tattoos with people from all over the country. Yeah, it's not a Supersuckers tattoo, by the way. It's something completely different. You wouldn't even know to look at it. You wouldn't, unless you knew the story behind the tattoo, it would never occur to you that it was anything other than just a tattoo. But yes, Supersuckers are one of my favorite all-time bands. Jesse Dayton would be another favorite all-time. Those two toured together for, I can't even tell you how many tours. And, oh yes, the stories that I have about all those days and all those nights. Oh, yes, it fills me with joy. But speaking of being filled with joy, right? Okay, so the other day, so Bokolati, Supersucker Statter Groupie, say that 5 times really fast. No, I won't say that very fast. So, hey, Vanilla Coke Pepsi, fantastic, good to see you. I was thinking about you the other day. I hadn't seen you on our last stream, and yes, Merry Christmas. I hope that we do see you before Christmas, or at least on Christmas. We're going to be watching the ref. But hey, Vanilla Coke Pepsi, last stream we were talking about because I was thinking of you because you weren't on the last stream, and on the last stream we were actually hoping that you would show up because we had a question for you. So the British call zucchinis courgettes, and we were wondering if Canadians referred to zucchinis as courgettes, and if so, did they also then call their zucchini bread courgette bread? So, your reason for not being at the stream because you had boxing that night is totally valid. Probably one of the best excuses ever. But we still wanted to know, and I'm curious still, is it courgette or zucchini? And okay, so you say zucchini. A courgette is what the Brits call a zucchini. And apparently I think maybe French people sometimes maybe do too. So yeah, I couldn't, for the life of me, I could not remember whether or not my mom, who's from Canada, different part of Canada than you though, I could not remember whether or not she referred to zucchinis as courgettes or not. I mean, let me rephrase that. She didn't when she was in America, but I couldn't remember if like my grandparent, my grandma, if she referred to them as courgettes, because it vaguely seems like something that my grandma might have said. So only your spelling is Britishized, your language is American. Okay. So for those who were here last stream wondering about the courgette bread versus zucchini bread, we now have an answer. It's zucchini bread up in Canada. Yeah. All right, cool. Fantastic. That was what we were, that was the question. That was what we were hoping for your Canadian expertise there, Vanilla Coke Pepsi. Yeah. So, so let's see here. The other, as I was about to say, yes, Merry Christmas, Vanilla Coke Pepsi. Merry Christmas, everyone. Yes, and if you, as I said earlier, if you weren't here, Statterbox at the Cinema will be running on Christmas. So if you're done with your duties, or if you want to get out of them, you can just come hang out at Statterbox at the Cinema. We'll be watching The Ref. Sorry about that phone call interruption, folks. I did not think to turn off my phone. Oops. So, the other day, when the weather was not nearly as horrible as it has been the last 2 days, we had some amazing views of a mountain that Seattle doesn't necessarily see as often as the mountain. Now, folks who lived in the Puget Sound area know what I'm talking about when I refer to the mountain. But for those who don't know, there is a mountain called Mount Rainier, and it looms over the Puget Sound. let's look at some photos of Mount Rainier here. And, oh, Cindy, the movie starts at 6 p.m. West Coast time, just so you know. So that is Mount Rainier, also known as Tahoma in one of the native languages. And that is the mountain with the beer that that is named after it. And, oh, Cindy Krause, it is raining where you're at. That makes me so happy. That makes me so happy. So as we can see here, that is Mount Rainier looming over Tacoma. That is Mount Rainier looming over Bonnie Lake. And no, not the Rockies, Vanilla Coke Pepsi. This is the Cascades. This is one of the volcanoes in the volcanic arc of the Cascades, which is what we're going to talk about today. It's Christmas, right? So we better talk about volcanoes. Okay, yeah, that's what we're going to do. So Andre's in the house. The mountain will someday destroy Seattle if it gets mad. Actually, I'm not so sure that it would destroy Seattle. It would definitely get Tacoma, as we can see in this picture. It would definitely get Bonnie Lake. In fact, this particular landmass that we're looking at here is a former Lahar mud lava flow from Mount Rainier. And when we get back to that picture, I'll tell you exactly what I'm talking about. I just love this picture of the church spire. I really didn't have a reason to put that up there other than it was just really pretty. And then, as you guys know, Rainier beer is was brewed in Seattle, Washington. Iconic local beer named after the mountain we're looking at. But okay, so check this out. Right on the right-hand side of the mountain, there is kind of an indentation. You can kind of see it here too. It's a little bit of a shadow within the highlights. That particular section of land blew up and came barreling down the river valley thousands upon thousands of years ago, and basically created the foothills and upper level landmass that is on the east side of that. All of this land right here used to belong on that mountain. Every little bit of land we're looking at in that particular picture came from that mountain, and basically came through and helped create the eastern slope of the Green River Valley. The Green River, by the way, in case you haven't heard, has a famous, serial killer named after it. So, yeah, it all comes full circle. So, yeah, and so this is Mount Rainier. This is Mount Rainier that we oftentimes see semi-looming over Seattle. This is looking south from Seattle. And hi there, I Start the Fire. I'm not your mom, but we are here talking about volcanoes. So hang out and learn about volcanoes, because that's what we're talking about. Oh, Poppy Shaney, do I remember the Rainier beer commercial, like a motorcycle accelerating? No, I don't. Nope, do not remember that. Not at all. And yes, I believe, Picola T, that this is the view from Cary Park on Queen Anne Hill. It is 100% the best view of Seattle from Queen Anne. Yeah, absolutely. So, oh, Poppy Shaney, those, if I had been thinking, I would have gotten some old cartoon or commercials from the classic Rainier commercials, like the wild Rainiers running through the forest and things like that. But Rainier is just super classic. It is, but my point here, okay, so Rainier is what we're thinking of whenever we think of iconic mountains in the Pacific Northwest. It is the largest volcano in the Cascade Volcanic Arc. It's one of the largest mountains and peaks outside of Alaska. Alaska's got like the top, I think, 15 highest peaks in the United States. So, outside of Alaska, it's one of the, I think there's another peak or two in Colorado that are a little bit higher, but it's one of the highest mountains on the continental United States, which we'll get into that in a minute. But it's not the only mountain. This is what I saw yesterday, or not yesterday, the day before yesterday. And this is a view you don't get to see very often. This is the view of Mount Baker from West Seattle, looking over to Seattle, you know, obviously with the needle in the background, and or in the foreground, I guess, actually. So, right, Shakalak, never even heard of Mount Baker. Exactly. And yet here it is, also looming over our city. Now, Mount Baker is close to the Canadian border, but when the clouds are lifted and right, it actually is remarkably close to Seattle. And the stunning bright whiteness of it is just so, it was just so taking. This is, this doesn't even do it justice. Vanilla Coke Pepsi, I think Denali is actually the tallest peak in Alaska. I mean, the tallest peak in the United States and in Alaska. I don't remember what they used to call it, because I've always referred to it as Denali, but it also used to be called some other name, but I'm not going to tell you what that name is because I can't remember. And yeah. Now, fun fact about this particular picture, which I want to point out. Do you see the bright red E on that hotel? Oh, by the way, that's a hotel. Do you see the bright red? Yes, thank you, Andre. I think it was Mount McKinley, but Mount McKinley doesn't exist anymore, right? It's now just Denali is what they've changed it to, or they're thinking about it, or they're going to, or something. I've always called it Denali, so I forget like what the official name was for a little while. But I think you're right. I think it's McKinley. Yeah. But anyway, that little red E right there, that is for the Edgewater Hotel. And that hotel is very iconic. And I know that the word iconic is used and thrown around a lot, but seriously, if you know anything about rock and roll history, you know that Led Zeppelin went fishing out of their windows at the Edgewater Hotel. You would know that the Beatles went fishing out of the windows of the Edgewater Hotel. Because here's the deal. The Edgewater is actually a hotel on the edge of the water, right? Right. So, you used to be able to, like, they used to give fishing poles and things to you. You used to be able to fish outside, you know, just fish out your window. And, yeah, they've since stopped it, and it's a much higher class hotel than one would think with allowing fishing to be done out the window. But, yeah. That hotel right there with the red E is where Led Zeppelin and the Beatles and many, many other rock stars have done some things, and they did some stuff, and we'll just leave it at that. And so it looks like eMusic comes in with, yes, they did already change it. They did already change the name. So, okay, Poppy Shaney, you've stayed at the Edgewater Hotel. Fantastic. And where? Good to see you. We are going through some, Seattle viewpoints, and I'm eventually going to be talking about volcanoes in a larger sense. And that's exactly it. They did some stuff and things, and that's what rock stars do, right? Some stuff and things, and sometimes we just leave it at that. Okay, so wait, Anthony Bourdain may or may not have enjoyed recreational weed on the balcony of his Edgewater Hotel. Well, depending upon the year that it happened, it might have been legal. It might have been legal. Shakalak, did any rock stars die in their sleeping rooms though? No, I don't think so. I don't think so, but you know, I really, kind of want to look that up now. Hey, Kenny from the Cove, good to see you. Hey, Devin, awesome. Good to see you. This is your alt account. All right, cool. Helping pad the stats for the show. Awesome. I love that. Poppy Shaney, what kind of stuff? I am shy and sheltered. Please explain to me. Well, Poppy Shaney, I feel like I have a memory of you having stories about the Sunset Strip. So I have a feeling you might know some of the things and some of the stuff I'm talking about. Yeah, exactly. Andre, man, it would be dangerous to go on your balcony at the Edgewater Hotel when they allowed fishing. I mean, people are not in season, and I would hate to get hooked by a balcony fisher person. Yeah, totally. I hear ya. It absolutely does sound like it would be pretty much as dangerous as, say, like having metal tip darts in bar rooms. Like, who thought that was a good idea? Yeah, so, okay, so, let's see here. So, now, Shakalak was saying, I've never even heard of Mount Baker. That's right, you probably haven't heard of Mount Baker. Here is a picture of all of the volcanoes that are in Washington State, and the one at the furthest south, Mount Hood, is technically in Oregon. It is just across the river from Oregon. Excuse me, from Washington. But literally, we've got what's known as the Cascade Volcanic Arc. And this volcanic arc goes much further down. It goes all the way down to Mount Shasta, Mount Whitney. Like, it goes down into California. Now, I don't know about the California volcanoes, and I'm not so sure about any of the Oregon volcanoes, but I can tell you, yeah, Mount Hood is the mountain people always have to be rescued off of. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Mount Hood has a lot of recreational opportunities, and that means, and it's very close to Oregon. In fact, let's look at, here's some Mount Hood slides. This is Portland, Oregon. Mount Hood is not that far from it. Definitely looming over the landscape. Mount Hood is one of my favorite mountains because it's so triangular and pointy, and it's just a very pleasing looking volcano to me. But I'm sure that has anything, that has nothing to do with how powerful that volcano might be if and when it does decide to erupt. Ooh, is this part of the Cascadia Fault? Well, Devin, let's go back. All right. So, yes, these mountains seem to do a lot of looming. They are. I mean, all of our major cities seem to be very near some of these very big volcanoes. And some of these volcanoes, if you remember, are actually active. I mean, this was quote unquote 40 years ago. Mount St. Helens, but this is Mount St. Helens now, and it's not 40 years ago. See that big cauldera, that big crater at the top? Yeah, well, that was caused by what we're looking at right now, the 1980 explosion. But since 1980, it has been going off for on and off every couple years. It blows up some steam. As you can see in the middle of that caldera, when we get back to that slide, there's a little cinder cone that's been built. And so there you go. They're the Mount St. Helens is rebuilding itself from within. We can see in this very picture. So Mount St. Helens is, pretty active. And so back to the picture, the graphic here. Devin, what you are asking about, the Cascadia Fault, that black line that runs up and down is the Cascadia Fault line, basically. It's the subduction zone. It's where a lot of movement happens, where the Juan de Fuca plate is going under the North American plate. The North American plate, as you can see, is moving in an westerly fashion. The Juan de Fuca plate is moving in an easterly fashion, and that creates some issues that eventually erupt up here. So that is, so that's what's going on here. And let's see here. Pacola T, you were camping on the rooftop of your dormitory when Mount St. Helens blew her top. Definitely woke you up. Oh yeah, I bet. That must have been, I don't even know what that must have been, actually. I mean, honestly, it sort of sounds like it was frightening. I remember I was at the Tacoma Mall when we heard about it. I was little, but I remember that day so well. I remember what outfit my mom bought for me at the Tacoma Mall that day. So, Andre, you went to Pompeii when you were a kid. That place was a trip. Oh, yeah, I bet. With the the, you know, incredible like still life, you know, fossilization, just the immediate ash flow, etc. Or, you know, well, I hope you know what I'm trying to say, because I'm not saying it well. Let's see here. And Vanilla Coke Pepsi. Yeah, you live in Ontario where there are no mountains in sight, so you have no privilege on this topic. Yeah, and you know, back in the day, actually, and when I say back in the day, I mean long ago, there used to be volcanoes over in kind of your neck of the woods. Now, I know that Vermont isn't in your neck of the woods exactly, but Vermont is closer to you than I am to you. And Vermont is the granite state, right? That's what it's known as. And it's got a lot of granite in it. Well, granite comes from volcanic chambers. So all of the granite that is in Vermont, at one point, there used to be a mountain around it that has weathered away. And the granite then, which was the internal magma chamber of the volcano, is what's left. So Vermont used to be full of active volcanoes. And yes, that's exactly right, Shock. Your mountains are way older than our mountains over here, which is why your mountains are like, oh, that's so cute. You call them mountains, because they're weathered away. But that is true. Vanilla Coke Pepsi, by a while back, do I mean 65 million years ago? I don't know if it's 65 million, but yeah, roughly in that neighborhood. That's what I mean. I mean, like, you know, there's no, your grandpa didn't see it. It's beyond that. Devin says, yeah, if it decides to relocate, I'm looking forward to beachfront property after the tsunami that would certainly follow an earthquake from this big Bertha fault. Yeah, yeah, I don't even like to think about it, actually. We'll just leave it at that. Yeah. So Vanilla Coke Pepsi, Poppy Shaney suggests, could school us on how southern Ontario is further south than a rather large portion of the USA. That is true, actually. I'm always surprised at how much further up in latitude Washington is than many of the East Coast states. We consequently, on like, say, July 4th, you don't get to do your fireworks until 10 p.m. because it's just not dark enough. But reverse, say on, December 22nd, you need to have the porch light on by 3:30 p.m. because it's getting kind of dark out. So, yeah. So let's see here. Oh, okay. So Pecola T, it was finals week when St. Helens blew. You were able to fly home from SeaTac, but your California classmates were stuck. The mud flows from the eruption completely buried section of I-5 for all. Oh, yes, it very much did. Yeah, the Lahar that came from that eruption, I was so disappointed by, I mean, you know, I was 6, right? And I had just moved from Hawaii where you know, where volcanoes look like that, where there's lava flow that looks like lava. That is what a volcano looks like, I thought as a kid, right? Well, no, not always. Hey, Michael Anthony Smith, good to see you. We're talking about volcanoes and stuff. And so I was really pissed because I didn't understand why there was no hot orange lava and why it just looked like gray, muddy water, which I later realized was not just gray, muddy water. It was actually, you know, basically liquid cement at, you know, hundreds of degrees hot liquid cement barreling down the side of a mountain at, you know, 60 miles an hour. So nothing really to sneeze at, but yeah, I didn't understand why it wasn't orange lava the way I was used to seeing volcano eruptions. So let's see here. Poppy Shaney, you remember the old guy that refused to leave the mountain and what went through his mind when the eruption began? Yeah, I can't remember what the guy's name is, but it was Spirit Lake, and I would like to think, Poppy Shaney, that it happened he was so close and in ground zero, I would like to think that he didn't have much time to think about anything, is what I hope. Is really what I hope. Yeah, exactly, Devin. Lahars are serious business. Yes, that's it. Thank you, Picolati. Harry Truman, it was his real name. And yeah, well, I mean, his cats probably would have been buried anyway. Probably couldn't have caught all of them, right? So let's see here. We'll get back to those Hawaii pictures in a little bit. So, yeah, Andre, exactly. Madame Pele's kind of volcanoes seem to be a little prettier, shall we say? Just a little bit prettier. Okay. So the Canary Islands are suffering the effects of a volcanic eruption. I did not know that, but I'm not really surprised because the Canary... Well, actually, maybe I am. Where are the Canary Islands? They're in the Pacific, aren't they? Probably in the Ring of Fire. Yeah, dude, those, those volcanoes... I don't think I need to explain to anybody who's familiar with island living or living near a volcano. Those volcanoes mean business. And, but speaking of volcanoes, because that's what we're talking about today, let's see here. Oh, the Canary Islands are off the coast of Africa. Okay. I wasn't sure. When did they, I was not aware of that particular eruption, but, is this a new eruption? Is the Earth exploding in a new spot today? Whoa. Devin, have I seen the volcanoes with blue glowing lava instead of orange? No. Like, what? Is it so hot that it's blue hot? What? Devin, explain to me what you're talking about, because I am a little bit confused and I would like to know what it is you're talking about. Because I guess the answer to your question is no, I've not seen that. So like, what is up with that? So better living through chemistry. So to continue on with our little topic, trust me guys, we're almost done. I mean, unless I babble on, which sometimes happens. And, oh, okay, so eMusic says the blue glow is due to the type of gases it's emitting. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So Devin's going to try to do something and maybe we'll be able to see it. Fantastic. All right, in the meantime, we are going to be talking about shield volcanoes versus composite volcanoes. And as you might be able to tell from this graphic, okay, well, we'll go back to that graphic eventually. But composite volcano, that's something like Mount Rainier, Mount Hood, Mount St. Helens, and it's made up of both lava flows and miscellaneous stuff that has come off of the mountain. Whereas shield volcanoes usually are created with a much different kind of lava that's a much more liquefied, and it is much easier to run and spread over a wide area. This is an example, 120 miles from end to end, Mauna Loa, Kilauea, shield volcano coming up from the ocean floor. And in the tiny little middle of that graphic, when we get back to it, is Mount Rainier. So Mount Rainier, that huge mountain that we just saw pictures of, is a tiny little speck in comparison to the island, or excuse me, the shield volcanoes that make up the Hawaiian Islands. And as you can see, these little huge volcanoes aren't really shaped the same way as the Mount Rainier, Mount Hood, Mount St. Helens, Mount Adams, Mount Baker type that I was showing you earlier in the different pictures. These are more like, like a Captain American shield. It's a little bit high in the middle, but it then just slowly slopes down. This is a picture from one of the islands, I think Mauna Kea, looking over towards Mauna Loa. And when we get back to it, I will point out that even though there is a cinder cone looking thing on Mauna Kea, we'll get there in a second. Okay, maybe we'll not get there in a second. Maybe it will get there more. Well, you can kind of see here, you know, these little vents are little cinder cone-esque, you know, they look like little cones. So even though there's there we go, there's a little cinder cone right there. And that's like in the cauldera at the top. But the larger scheme of things, the larger shape, as it were, is a big old shield. And so, so there you go. That concludes my little lecture on the volcanoes. And I was inspired, by this particular picture to babble on and on about volcanoes for a while. And if you guys care about learning more about the Pacific Northwest Volcanic Arc, Cascade Volcanic Arc, or other geological wonders that are in the Pacific Northwest, I suggest you go to this guy, Nick Zentner, nickzentner.com. Go to his website, and he is a, what is he? He's a college professor for Central Washington University, and he has some of the most amazing, simple to understand lectures on the geology and all of the geological wonders that have gone on in this particular area. Sometimes he just does it with a chalkboard, and I mean, it's nothing fancy. I think it's called like his downtown lecture series, where he's literally in front of like a chalkboard, or sometimes he's in front of 2 chalkboards when he's getting really fancy. And he can keep you enthralled for an hour and a half, talking about this, that, and the other thing. So yeah, let's see here. I'm missing a bunch of stuff. Pacola T, my mainland friends ask if I live in fear surrounded by active volcanoes. Not nearly as scared as I would be from tornadoes. Volcanoes at least give you warnings. Exactly. And honestly, I mean, I know that Mount St. Helens probably, like, you know, let off the big steam 40 years ago, and we probably don't have much out of that one to worry about. But it's not like people on the mainland don't live surrounded by active volcanoes. I mean, Rainier is quote unquote theoretically dormant, they say, but they aren't. But they also recognize things change, you know? So, so let's see here. Kenny from the Cove, just curious, Statter, where are you going to go if you have to exit your AO? I don't know what AO means, but I'm assuming you just mean my house. If volcano or other natural disaster. Well, the volcano, I wouldn't really worry too much about, because I'm on what's known as the high line. And so any kind of mud flow or whatever, I wouldn't have to worry about that. And if there was ash, obviously I'd have to take precautions, but you don't really want to go anywhere when there's ash in the air, because that screws up your car's air system, and your air filter, you know, you can't go very far without having to change an air filter if Mount St. Helens was any indication. So, you know, I don't, it really kind of all depends on where you can go. So yeah, I don't know. Michael Anthony Smith, good to see you. And yeah, you get to bed. It's late where you're at, and you have to get up so flippin' early. So eMusic, you love discussing Hawaii volcanoes, having lived in volcano. Yeah. So, well, yeah. So, you know, what is the deal? Like, is there anything that you want to add to this? Is there anything that you want to add to this conversation? Because this is definitely what I was hoping. You know, people have all sorts. I mean, you know, lots of y'all are on Hawaii. It's not like I'm the only one who's got a volcano in my backyard, right? And where isn't Yellowstone a super volcano? Yeah, it's what's known as a caldera type volcano. So like, you don't really notice it, you know? It sort of just seems like a feature in the ground. But from like aerial perspectives, you can see like, oh wow, that's one big hole in the ground over there. Like there's a distinct cauldera shape. And Yellowstone, Nick Zentner actually talks a lot about what's known as the Yellowstone hotspot. And that hotspot has moved. So as we, oh boy, I can't believe I'm doing this. So as we see here on this particular slide, the North American plate is going eastward. Well, underneath the plate is actually a hot spot, and apparently Hawaii is over another hot spot as well. But it's a hot spot in the crust or whatever. And so large caldera volcanoes have actually migrated through southwest Oregon, up through Idaho, up to where Yellowstone now is. But the features in the Yellowstone caldera actually used to be on different parts of the crust, and as the crust moved over that hot spot, the hot spot's stationary. As the crust moves over the hot spot, that is what creates all of these geothermic systems that you've got in southeast Idaho, and that you've got in Wyoming, and that you've got in part of Montana, that create that whole Yellowstone caldera system. And so Yellowstone, even though it is its own national park, for hundreds and hundreds of miles out, especially to the west of it, there's town, like the geothermic features of that area are astounding and everywhere, from hot springs and geysers and mud pools and things, you know, well outside the boundaries of the park. These features are still can be found in random spots. So yeah. Devin, USGS has real-time earthquake map for the whole world. I know, I love that earthquake map. I used to have it on my computer. I like a shortcut hot link, but I don't anymore. And yeah, Andre, exactly. People scare me way more than volcanoes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's see here. Oh, AO, area of operation. Gotcha. Well, Kenny, now that I know what AO means, my area of operation is probably not going to be an easy area of operation to leave, but luckily it's kind of a self-contained one. So hopefully the high line, as it were, won't be too damaged. But, you know, it's so hard to say what, depending upon what the natural disaster is, it's hard to say, right? Yeah, Shocklock, exactly. The flights would be grounded if there's ash. Exactly. Now, that's true to a degree, and it isn't true to a degree. It all depends on wind direction, obviously, you know? So even though Mount St. Helens is and was southwest of where I'm at, the way the wind blows, it blows to the east. So it comes from the west, blows to the east. So the Seattle area actually didn't get very much, if any, ash from the eruption. And so the flights out of SeaTac weren't actually that disrupted. But Spokane, which is east of the mountains, like a 5-hour drive east of Seattle, Spokane was so covered in ash that it seemed like night during the day. The ash was so thick in the air, it blocked the sun. And it was, you know, landing in places like, you know, a foot thick, like snow. And so obviously the flights out of Spokane were non-existent. So even though SeaTac is closer to the volcano, just due to prevailing winds, it wasn't that big of a deal, from a flight perspective, that is. So, yeah, well, Shakalak, we had an impact of that over the volcano. Was it in Iceland? I don't know if it was in Iceland, but it probably would have been because Iceland is so volcanically active, right? And yeah, sometimes the eruptions are so big that they get so high up in the atmosphere that it can literally travel around the world, you know, between the air currents of traveling around the world and then, of course, the Earth spinning itself. Suddenly, it's just like everybody's got ash in their air. Because, that's, in fact, I think, now definitely don't quote me on this. Somebody for sure fact check this one. But I think that that's kind of like one of the concerns if, say, Yellowstone blew up. The plume of ash and debris would be so huge from that eruption that it would eventually circumnavigate the globe and possibly affect weather patterns for months afterwards. So you know, I'm not at all surprised that Iceland had a volcano that screwed us up either. Yeah. Poppy Shaney, why am I going off on this when we've got an actual flippin' pilot in the house, right? Okay, so Poppy Shaney tells Shakalak, as always, you are very correct, and then I fly through ash frequently. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. Well, okay, first off, Poppy Shaney, the kind of ash that you fly through is a little bit different than volcanic ash, I think, isn't it? And also, like, that's kind of your job, isn't it? And also, hadn't really thought about that. Like, oh my goodness, Poppy Shaney, how much of a risk is that? Like, do you, I mean, yeah, seriously, like how much, I've got to, do you have to change your air filters more often because of do planes even have air filters? Poppy Shaney, I've got a lot of questions and I don't even know how to ask them. So, Andre, yes. Andre suggests, also remember, don't bring back volcanic rock back from from Hawaii either. Yeah, exactly. Just don't. I mean, come on, the Brady Bunch had a whole episode about that, didn't they? Oh no, wait, it wasn't the rock. It was a little thing. A little figurine, wasn't it? I don't remember. But Poppy Shaney is telling Shock, we do not fly directly through the column and fly on the edge and get some ash on the leading edges of the winds, windscreen, and engine inlets and propellers. Okay, so cool. Shock is asking all the questions that I didn't have the words for. So then she asks, cool, that makes sense. Does it increase the need for maintenance anyway? And so... Oh, E-Music, you were given lava rock from the Iceland volcano. Bad things started happening, so you gave it back. Yeah, you know, it might be superstitious, but why not? You know, it doesn't hurt to give it back. Hey, Tony Suss, good to see you. We are, welcome back to the chat. We were talking about volcanoes today. And now, actually, Poppy Shane is filling us in on the risk of ash when he's flying his airplane through or around when he's doing the fire spotting. And so luckily he says turbine engines are pretty rugged and a super bad ash injection would require a compressor wash. Okay. Hey JW. No, hey JY Gant, good to see you again. Welcome back. We are chatting about volcanoes today. Let's see. And yeah, Anne, where? I don't even know how you can get those letters on the screen. And Anne Ware, I'm not gonna say Asia Fajalakol. See, I don't even know what it is that I just said. So when a volcano in Iceland erupted, a lot of European flights were canceled for a while. Absolutely, yes. Wow. How did you spell? Did you copy and paste that, Anne? How on earth? So let's see here. Oh shoot, really? E-Music, no, I don't remember this. It held up Air Force One and Obama couldn't fly back for 2 days. Oh my goodness, I don't remember that. But yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, if you can't, volcanic ash is sticky. It's fine. It's not, you wouldn't call it, like it's not the way you and I think of ash, you know? I mean, I suppose if you're familiar with volcanic ash, then it's what you think. But if you've never been exposed to volcanic ash, it's not at all like what you would think. The best way I could describe it is sand that's so fine that it is almost sticky. You know how fine sand, it doesn't even have to be wet, and it just sort of sticky. It's like that, and it's the worst. It's the worst for at least cars and their air filters. I can only assume airplanes would be even worse. I mean, you know, if you're driving your car and your engine stops, your car stops and you're still on the ground. Right? You're still on the ground. When the engine stops in an airplane, it's different. That's different. Hey, Tony Suss. All right, I'll see you later if you come back. Have a good one. Yeah, JY Gant. I've heard that if Yellowstone blew, we would lose much of the U.S. too. Yeah, precisely. I have heard that as well, and I don't have any kind of graphic or comprehension of just what the on the ground explosion would be like, but I do know from watching enough random TV shows and streams about this that the volcanic plume would most likely circumnavigate the globe and screw everything up. Yeah, because like Andre was saying, when Krakatoa exploded, the ash stayed in the air for like 5 years and messed with weather, and also helped inspiring the painting of the Scream. I didn't know that, actually. I had no idea. Well, now that's an interesting little fact. Awesome. Andre, you come in with the strangest little facts. That's so perfect. That's why you belong here on the Statterbox crew. You come in with like, oh, look what Google just told me. Or maybe you already know it. And let's see here. Pocola T, did Mount Pinatubo volcano in the Philippines also cause flight disruptions? I don't remember, but I don't remember, but I want to say in my lifetime there was an Italian volcano that screwed up flights and a Filipino one that screwed up flights in my brain. That's totally ringing bells, but I think we know that that's kind of dangerous. So oh, but hey, JY Gant might be able to answer that question. Processed evacuees when Pinatubo blew up back in the 80s. So, yeah, and E-Music, exactly. Volcanic ash in Hawaii soil from volcanoes that exploded in Japan. Not even shocked there. Yeah, volcano ash is like getting sandblasted. That is 100% true. That is 100% true. And oh, Andre, thank you so much for the 300 biddies. I'm sorry, I did not see that until just now. Did someone order ash? Hey, OG Suma Vibe, good to see you. So let's see here. Okay, and where you just cut and pasted. Excellent, fantastic. Yeah, Icelandic language is hard. There are not that many people that speak it. I am not even gonna, yeah, exactly. So, Panda Diz 16, do I do shout outs? Yes and no. I verbally do them. So, hey guys, if you want to check out Panda Diz 16, go right ahead. But I don't have them set up on my Streamlabs yet because I'm kind of tech intimidated and I'm not that fancy yet. So, I sort of do shout-outs, but not the way most people do them. Yeah, so there you go. Oh, really? Pocola T, Obama and his family are back in Kailua for their annual holiday vacay. Gosh, you know, it didn't even occur to me. Of course they are. Right, duh. So, Poppy Shaney. He tells me, in columns of huge fires, there are pieces of plywood, shingles, firewood, etc. in the turbulence can be the same as a major thunderstorm. Right, that makes sense. If you go into the fire column, you most likely will not survive. Yeah, actually, that totally makes sense because what with the heating updraft can eventually lift a lot of things. Okay, so it looks like there's Brand the Man 97. If you guys want to help someone out, Brand the Man 97. He's a couple people away from 500 followers, so maybe check him out. But you know what? I don't know. I have no idea what that stream is all about, so I cannot vouch. But if you're in for following folk just to give them some boosted numbers, there you have it, Rabbit. Go ahead. And Devin, random bit of trivia. The movie Army of Darkness, Bruce Campbell's character's name is Ash, short for Ashley. Oh, that's so awful. I mean, Ashley's a cute name, and Ash is a great name, but they're not the same name. I mean, you know. So Andre's saying that they have dust filters for helicopters that operate in the Middle East where the sand is kind of like volcanic ash. Oh gosh, yeah, you know, I didn't even think about that, but that totally makes sense. So let's see here. Darlene, good to see you. I bet you've been busy. It's getting to be that day. Darlene, are you and Rick going to be staying home for the holiday, or are you going to be traveling to your kids' place like you did for the Turkey Day? I hope that you're staying home for the holiday, just because it seems like it's more cozy. But on the other hand, I hope that you get to do whatever it is you want to do. So the time to overhaul and replacement for aircraft components operated in the desert is significantly increased. Yeah, that makes sense. Yes, that was it. The only active volcano in Italy is Mount Etna, and I believe that I don't know if it was a big explosion, but I think that it was spewing some gas. Now this obviously wasn't yesterday. I mean, this might have been like a decade ago, but I think it was a little bit, it was getting grumpy, and I don't remember if they had to cancel the flights. I feel like they did, or if they were just like, oh crumb, we might have to. But I do believe that Mount Etna was making some people nervous and maybe changing some plans a few years ago. However, we already know this. I don't really know what I'm talking about, so maybe look that one up. Yes, exactly, Picola T. That is right, Darlene. Tonight's topic is a hot one. It's volcanoes. That is correct. So, Andre, there's only 366,425 people in Iceland. Oakland, California has a bigger population than that. I think Seattle, Washington has a bigger population than that, actually. Oh, hey, here's Rick. Finally back in the house tonight. Yes, good to see you and Darlene. Fantastic. Yep, we noticed that you were missing. We're talking about volcanoes today. Yeah, no, Chuck, thanks for stepping in. That was you're always a better enforcer than I am, so so it's all good. OG Sumavive, you got to understand how these bots work when it comes to who you follow and who requests to follow. Yeah, I wasn't telling anybody to go do it, that's for sure. But yeah, bot or not, it still was just like, dude, we're not gamers here. This isn't really, you're probably barking up the wrong tree. So if you guys want to go check the dude out, I'm not going to stop you, but yeah, So let's see here. Looks like Mount Etna. Okay, so Picola T's dropping some knowledge. Mount Etna on Sicily threatened residents in villages built all around the slopes. Okay, maybe that's what it was that I was thinking of. Was like I knew that it was a big deal for people, that Italian one. And Sicily, shoot, dude, Sicily, like, I didn't really know that Sicily was a volcanic island, but like Sicily's not really that big of an island. Like, are you sure that volcano's not actually threatening everybody on Sicily, not just the ones who are on the side? Because, it's not a big island. So, Darlene, yes, busy. Staying home for the most part. Good. Oh, you're going to have your family get together after Christmas in on January 1st. However, you're doing mini brunch with one daughter Christmas morning. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, mini brunch. That sounds good. I mean, I know it's going to be good because you're involved. And I've eaten some of your food, so I know it's going to be tasty. So let's see here. And where I have a dream, I hope it will come true, that you're here with me and I'm here with you. I wish that the earth, sea, and the sky up above will send me someone to lava. That's cute. I'm sure it belongs to a tune that I did not sing, but that's all right. What is that one, that Queen song? Can anybody find me somebody to lava or something like that? Yeah, that's it. Darlene, you think you'd take your winter storms over volcanoes or earthquakes? Well, yeah, you're more used to that. And we were talking about how earthquakes, not so much, but volcanoes at least have the decency to warn you when they're coming over. Like they send out, they send out messages before they show up. So that's the one nice thing about volcanoes, is at least it's just like, you get a little bit more time to prepare. Unlike an earthquake, it's just like, hi, I just decided to, crack your house down the middle. Just 'cause. Was feeling cute, thought I'd come over. Yeah, so let's see. Oh, you went to Sicily as a kid and it was so smoggy you couldn't see Mount Etna? That's disturbing. If you're on the same island as it, that sounds awful. Oh yeah, Shock, you weren't familiar with the term VOG? Yeah, volcanic air pollution is definitely called VOG in Hawaii, and it is really harsh on the lungs. It's not fog, and it's not smoke. It's its own thing, and yeah, it is very unpleasant. It is very unpleasant. Oh, okay, so Andre, Sicily is so volcanic, thermal mud pools, obsidian, and lots of promise stone. Loved playing with the stuff in the water. What's a promise stone? I don't know what a promise stone is. So, oh, pumice. I'm assuming you mean pumice. Yeah, I love pumice stone too. Pumice stone is, in case you guys aren't familiar with pumice, and I'm sure you are, at least in some way, the kind of stuff that rubs off the calluses and stuff, that's actually a volcanic rock, and it's like, holy, like a sponge, and it's a rock that floats. I love it. Oh, Shock, yes, absolutely. Real Hawaiians absolutely use the word VOG. I have some friends that live on the Big Island, and they live Kona side, not Hilo side, and without a doubt, VOG is a regular part of their VOG is a, yeah, it's weird. I do this thing where I talk online and stuff, but at the same time I obviously can't talk. Yeah, so the term VOG, it's a regular part of conversations on people who live on the Big Island. I don't know if K-Man up in Waimea has to deal with it, but Kailua Kona area definitely is in the weather pattern that they have to worry about it. And the people that I know who live there, for sure, yeah, they use that word a lot. Yeah, Queen's song is Somebody to Lava. No, it's Somebody to Lava. It's not somebody to love, it's somebody to lava. Yeah, exactly. E-music, like, it's like, oh yeah, VOG is a real word that they use in Hawaii, for sure. For sure. Yeah, Andre, snow is something you visit. Earthquakes are something you live with. At least there's no earthquake season. That is true. Unlike tornadoes, where there is an actual season, which is just freaky. And yeah, exactly, Darlene. Pumice stone, you love it. You use it on your heels. You can use pumice stone to clean stains on your toilet. You can use pumice stone to break out, or to rub away the calluses on your heels. Don't use the same pumice stone for those two things. Yeah, the pumice stone, very, very useful stone. Oh, hey, Kenny from the Cove, thank you so much for the 100 biddies. Yeah, exactly. E-music VOG can be very dangerous. Like it's kind of almost has like little not glass particles, but it's bad. It's bad for the lungs. Definitely bad, bad, bad. Right, exactly. VOG loves Conocide, not so much Helocide. Precisely, yeah. My Helocide people don't necessarily talk about VOG at all. But my Conocide people, oh yeah, VOG is definitely a part of their conversation. And where 200 biddies? Oh my goodness, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Gosh, you know, I'm not surprised at all that VOG also can affect some areas in Maui. I mean, you know, the islands aren't that far apart from each other, and wind does, you know, carry stuff. So yeah. No, your asthma doesn't like the VOG at all. Luckily, when I was on Kona, it was remarkably clear the entire time I was there. And so I didn't have to worry about the VOG, but it was a conversation. It was a topic of conversation almost every day. Like, oh, I wonder if the wind's going to shift. Oh, I wonder if blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it is, it is a very legit Hawaiian word that lots of locals smurfly use. And the ones that don't use it, they're fortunate because they don't have to. Let's see here. Yeah, you can see Maui from Hawaii on a clear day. Maui's so close. Yeah, and you can see Maui from Molokai. I suppose you can see Molokai from Maui. And actually, I think there's one spot on Molokai that you can actually see Honolulu. And I want to say, and boy, I am totally making this up, maybe, so for sure check on what I'm saying. But I want to say that the McAfee guy, you know, of internet fame, McAfee, he built a house on Molokai that is on beachfront, and he chose the land because you could see the lights of Honolulu from that beachfront property. Now, he obviously doesn't live there anymore because I think he's like arrested or something. I think there's like a murder or something. I'm pretty sure Mick Fleetwood lives in that house now. So I don't know. I don't know if Mick Fleetwood appreciates the view of Honolulu, but I'm pretty sure I'm not making that part up. That there's one little tiny area of Molokai that you can see Honolulu from. Yeah. And that's where McAfee built his house. Maybe. Oh, okay. Oahu residents sometimes have to worry about VOG whenever we have Kona weather. That makes sense. Yeah, you know, Rick, I don't know if the glass particles in the air are called Pele's hair, but I do believe you're on something. But I'm hoping somebody with more knowledge can say yes or no. And it looks like Andre has come in with yes when it falls from the ground. When it falls to the ground, I assume. Oh, okay. McAfee is dead. Oh, okay. Well, but he still was in trouble and he ran away, didn't he? I mean, they accused him of some. Anyway, he never got to live in the house that he built. And the house that he built is kind of it's kind of a fancy pants house. Like, apparently he spent more on the materials for the house than the house is actually like worth. But you know, whatever, when you've got money to burn. So let's see here. Okay, so Bacolati's coming in with knowledge. Makes sense. On a clear day, you can see Molokai from Oahu South Shore. All right. So I'm maybe not making that up. So Andre, isn't McAfee dead? Yeah, I guess. Okay, sure, exactly. He might be. Let's see. I know that he's not living in his house that he built. I know that Mick Fleetwood is the one who bought it. And there you go. And I got to look through it online when it was on the market it was on the market for years. So you totally, and I don't really know if I was Mick Fleetwood, I don't really know if I'd want to go live in that house, because it's just like the entire world is seen where the entire world knows what that house looks like, knows what the layout is, because it was on real estate blogs and vlogs, and you know, you could go through and, you know, take the virtual tour, but whatever. Hey, Love Pat, good to see you. We are now talking about, well, basically talking about Hawaiian volcanoes. We were talking about the volcanoes up in my neck of the woods earlier. And, but now we're just talking about Hawaii and whether or not you can see places from other places. And, yeah, well, exactly, Andre. The shipping costs to Molokai must be, huge for a mansion. And, so yeah, I'm assuming that that's really why it's worth more, or it costs more than it's worth, is, you know, once you include the shipping costs, suddenly it's like 3 times as expensive as it was for that one piece of plyboard was $5, but it costs $15 to send the one piece over to Hawaii. So suddenly it's $20 and 15 of it is just given to the wind, you know, it's not the value. So, yes, exactly, Rick. McAfee still living in the internet as a virus scanner. Precisely. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's, I think that's how he made his fortune, to build the fancy pants house. But Andre, but can you see Russia from Sarah Palin's window? Well, no, but that's only because she doesn't wash her windows. If she washed her windows better with ammonia and newspaper, she wouldn't get the streaks, and then we could see Russia. But unless she washes her windows with ammonia and newspaper, we'll never be able to see Russia from her windows. No, never. Yes, so, well, shock, I had to do some kind of burn. I mean, we are talking about volcanoes after all. And volcanoes, while snowy, are also very hot. All right, well, gosh, guys, I don't know what else. Let me see. I want to make sure I covered everything. Yeah, volcanoes do make red dirt for sure. They also make, oh, what is it? It's the green sand, like Olivine or whatever. The green sand beaches on the Big Island. I think that that's a direct result of the volcanic explosion, and it's like a bunch of, I want to say it's Olivine. Am I making that up? I don't think I'm making that up. So instead of being unsure, I'm gonna say, hey, Option, good to see you. Glad to see you here at Chatter with Statter. We are talking about volcanoes today, and all sorts of various and assorted things like that. And let me tell you, Bacola T, remember when Crazy Shirts came out with a line of red dirt stained t-shirts? Yes. Not only do I remember, when I brought home a red dirt stained tank top from Kauai, my mom about lost her bloody mind. She was so pissed. I mean, she was so angry because she spent her entire life as a mother on the Big Island trying to get red dirt stains out of clothes, and it never once occurred to her to get rich by putting the dirt stain into the clothes. Oh my goodness. She was just like, that's the most brilliant flippin' thing. Oh, she was pissed and proud of whoever it was that did that. She definitely, she was livid, and she was stoked, and she was envious. She really was envious. She's just like, how did this not occur to me? Yep, exactly. Yes, exactly, Bacola T. Your mom had the same reaction. It's just like, are you kidding me? You're doing this on purpose? I have spent thousands of dollars looking for laundry products that get rust, essentially. Rust out of the fabric. And, yeah, there you go. Yeah, I know, eMusic. Dang, AutoCarrot. I knew, I mean, I had a feeling you were trying to say Olivine. And so I'm glad to know that, that I'm not just making I'm not just making that up, that it is Olivine sand beaches in Hawaii, and that word is not a word that I just made up. But I do like that Olivier is also from the Kilauea volcano. Yes. But no, Olivier, I had a feeling you were trying to say Olivine. Yeah, red dirt is good for growing stuff. Lots of iron and other minerals in it, for sure. And, it's really, it really is so pretty in Hawaii to see the red dirt with then the green, foliage, whatever. The green plants, the leafy greens on contrasting with it. It reminds me a lot of the landscape in southern Utah, where the ground is very orange and then the trees are very green. The orange dirt with the green plants is one of my favorite color combos. Yes. So, I think it's Bermuda that has the pink sand beaches as well. And I can only assume the pink sand is what? Ground up coral? I don't know how they get the pink sand, because I don't think Bermuda or anywhere in the Caribbean, once again, don't know how to pronounce that. You'd think I would know, because it's not like I haven't said those words before, but is it Caribbean or is it Caribbean? I don't really know. But either way, there's not a lot of volcanoes in the Caribbean, in that part of there's not a lot of volcanoes near Bermuda in those islands, right? Rick, exactly. Red dirt, homemade fashion then. Hey kid, go out and play and upgrade your wardrobe. You got it. Yeah. Oh, Kenny from the Cove. Yeah. There's an episode of Dirty Jobs where they showed how they made red dirt shirts. They actually shovel the dirt into washing machines and throw in plain white t-shirts. Absolutely. Anybody who's lived in the islands knows exactly how they made them. I mean, basically it's just, wash them in mud and that'll be exactly it. It's that dirt stains. I mean, it's rust. It's rusty. It's staining. It's rust. So, like I said, my mom was really pissed. She was just like, you mean I could have just made the whole shirts, instead of taking the one orange spot out, I just could have made the whole shirt orange. So let's see here. Okay. So off the shore of Bermuda, tiny single-celled red organisms, foraminifera, that's not how you say that word, grow beneath the coral reefs. When these organisms die, they fall to the ocean floor and mix with the bits of coral and crushed shell. The sand turns pink when this mixture washes onto the beach. All right, that makes sense, and that sounds really pretty. On Hawaii Island, there's also pink and beige sand, pink from coral. I didn't know that, but I did know that Hawaii Island has a bunch of different colored sands. But I didn't realize that they had pink sand. And where? Awesome. See, I'm learning something new. There are a bunch of volcanoes in the Caribbean? Really? Okay. I'm gonna have to do some studying here. I mean, this whole thing was on volcanoes and I didn't even know. It's so funny. I always think of those islands as being really flat. I don't know why I think that. And really, there's volcanoes. Okay. Yeah, I guess Bacolati volcanoes, they're everywhere. They are everywhere. Wow, dude. Wait, hold on. So I didn't realize, so the red shirt company, the crazy shirt, dirt shirt people, they went out of business. I didn't know that. I knew that I didn't think that red shirts were available. Oh, let's try this again. I didn't know they went out of business because of COVID. I thought that they didn't. I thought that red dirt shirts had not been available long before COVID was a thing. I thought that they went out of business, but I didn't know it was COVID why they went out of business. Am I saying words that make sense? Let's see here. Andre, there has been an eruption on one of those islands? Okay. Oh, and shocks coming in. Oh yeah, there was a recent eruption in the Caribbean. It made the news. Okay. I believe you. I believe you. I just didn't know. What island, you guys? Are you telling me the truth? I mean, I feel like you're telling me the truth, but really? Really? I'm gonna have to look some things up. I'm gonna have to look it all up. And when you say recently, do you mean recently like I mean recently, like within the last 10 years? Or do you mean recently the way like everybody else in the world means recently, which is like not that long ago? Okay, so and where there's a Caribbean plate that meets up with the North American and South American plate. Okay. All right. Oh, Montserrat. I didn't even know that. Why did I think that Montserrat was in the Mediterranean? Wow, I'm actually good at geography. You wouldn't know that from this conversation, but I'm actually kind of okay at geography. Today, not so much, but in my other life, I used to think I was. So yeah. Oh, okay, so amid the ongoing COVID, Andre, dropping knowledge, amid the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic on April 9th, 2021, the La Soufre, some French volcano, only it's not a French volcano because it's a volcano in the Caribbean. La Souffle is what we're going to call it. That's not the word, though. Volcano started erupting on the main island of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, causing the displacement of about 20,000 people, devastating the livelihoods of Vincentians and significantly impacting the environment in the Eastern Caribbean. Wow. All right, then. Excellent. Kenny, okay, so you tried to order some shirts online from RDS and even followed them on Facebook, but they went pow shortly after the pandemic started. Gosh, yeah, I mean, it makes sense their whole Crazy Shirts' entire business model was based on the tourist industry. So when Hawaii had to go into that lockdown, I'm not at all surprised that they felt it. They felt it hard. Hey there, first time chat, Troubled Boy No Mom. Hi there, how you doing? You are part of the Statterbox crew now, and we are talking about volcanoes in the Caribbean. That is right, super exciting. We are about to wind things up though. We've got about 3 minutes left. But until then, we are going to be talking about various and assorted volcanoes in the Caribbean, because I didn't know that there was any volcanoes in the Caribbean. So let's see here. Mad Statter, when Shock and me are saying something happened, it did. If I got it wrong, she would say I was wrong and I would do the same. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm not. Oh, I don't doubt that. I have no doubt in my mind that between Andre and Shock, they will keep my truth centers as closely aligned as possible. So yeah, I mean, I was kind of joking about the whole, whether I was kind of joking that you guys were joking, but at the same time though, I'm really like, wow, I really truly did not associate volcanic islands with the Caribbean. There's not even, and Rick is just like, yeah, there's a whole string of them from Puerto Rico to Grenada. It's like, or Grenada, however you say that. Okay, cool. Awesome, dude. Cool. Ann Ware sent me the Arc of the Caribbean volcanoes in an email. Awesome. So we probably won't go in depth with the topic like we did today, but I just might share the Arc next one because yeah, everyone should know. So there we go. Exactly. Andre and Shaq, Guardians of the Statterfax. Precisely. Okay, so and we're correcting yourself. It's the Caribbean plate and the Atlantic plate that are rubbing against each other that create those. Okay, cool. There's a lot of plates, so I'm not even gonna hold you accountable for getting that messed up. So yeah. Darlene, you believe you recently saw a news report about an underwater volcano erupting. Well, yeah, I mean, in Hawaii's got some underwater volcanoes that are, just now starting to pop up, which is kind of cool. It's like, I mean, it's so cliche. They're not making any new land, and people in Hawaii are like, I kind of beg to differ. They are making new land. So, yeah, you've heard of Pirates of the Caribbean, and now the Volcanoes too. That's exactly right. Yep. So let's see here. Yeah, exactly. And where we hear way more about hurricanes than plate tectonics, precisely. And Pocola T, if you enter a trivia game and see that Shock and Andre are on the same team, then I'm just throwing up the surrender flag. No, you go and join their team. You go and join their team. Yes. Andre, I've seen many of the places I loved as a kid on the Big Island wiped away and new things being created. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those fish ponds that recently got overtaken, and by recently I mean like 5 years ago or whatever. Such a loss. Such a loss. Yes, what a deadly planet we live on. Well, that's what life and death is all about, right? Can't have one without the other. So the planet provides for both in its own little weird way, right? Yeah, eMusic, the underwater volcano off of Hawaii Island that's erupting and growing taller. I can't remember what they named it. I did come across that when I was doing my research for the show today. But yeah, I can see it sort of, but I can't see it enough to read it in my head. Starts with a P, I think, if we're talking about the same one. And we might not be, because I think there's a lot of volcanoes that are happening in Hawaii. Yes. That is it. And that's precisely it, Rick. Nobody makes it out alive. And you know what? On that note, we're going to have to wrap it up. It is 6:31, and that is time to call it quits. I want to thank you guys for hanging out. I know that I had a good time. I think we all had a good time here, chattering about the volcanoes. Now, if you want to learn more about the Pacific Northwest and all their volcanic action, nickzentner.com. That's right. I'm pimping out Nick because he is a rock star geologist, and I enjoy his lectures like nobody's business. So perhaps you can enjoy his lectures as well. And and if you don't want to enjoy his lectures, that's okay. We're going to be showing a movie on Christmas, so you can come join us there. 6 p.m. West Coast time on Twitch. Let's see here. That would be 4 p.m. on the Hawaiian Islands, and it would be 9 p.m. East Coast time. We're going to watch Dennis Leary. We're going to watch The Ref. It's a holiday film, oddly enough. And I hope to see you soon. I hope to see you there. And if I can't see you on Saturday, no problem. It's a holiday. I get it. We're going to also be doing another Chatter with Statter on Sunday, 5 p.m. Twitch, West Coast time, 3 p.m. Hawaii time, and 8 p.m. on that East Coast. So thanks so much for coming back, J.Y. Gant and Pocola T. I love you all. That's exactly right. And now Unware's going to go watch the lava short film. Oh, and Rick coming in with the knowledge. It's Lo'ihi is the new underwater Hawaiian volcano. Okay, the one I'm thinking of is not that one. But the one that I was thinking of starts with a P. It is also an underwater volcano, but it's not new. And it's huge, apparently. But I'll have to look that one up. Option, thanks so much for coming in. It was good to see you. Aloha. And if I don't see you on Saturday, have yourself a happy holiday and a Merry Christmas. And keep yourself cozy and warm. Until then, I'll catch you later.